Take two.
Oh my God! What in our small town will be the right way? The lieutenant and an old acquaintance of mine are only a few minutes away. Make sure nobody leaves that room.
Sorry to beg the inspector's pardon, but that sounded like one very, very serious phone call.
Yes, Ellen. Has a crime been committed? We normally don't have one in our small town.
Well, you're never going to believe this, but
I don't understand the security system.
holy hazardous hostility! Whoever did this must be caught. I do not understand why they do not have armed guards present.
Oh, heck! I give my favorite rhyme horse a chance to rope and hog tie that rascal. The beauty, the elegance, the luxury, the sophistication that's represented, but why?
I got it all figured out. The explanation to this is quite clear. I'm amazed on how it was so overlooked. The butler did it.
Today we would like to invite you to sit back and relax and figure out the solution to our mystery.
Fast Trackers 4-H Club presents The Case of the Punjabi Ruby, directed by Rose and Pat Reinish.
Excuse me, man in the black trench coat. Yes, you. Please sit back down. I said nobody leaves this room, and that goes for everybody present. We'll get to you all shortly. Now, let's hurry it up and get going.
Why are you keeping us here, Sergeant? We've all been searched by you or that other officer. None of us have the missing ruby. The premiere of my latest film is tonight, and I must get back to the hotel and get ready. Just a few more minutes, Mrs. Dubois. I know you all have busy schedules, but Inspector Conley should be here soon. I called her from home as soon as the robbery was reported. It isn't every day we have $500,000 jewels back in this precinct, you know.
It was more than just a jewel. It was a Punjabi ruby, a national treasure from my country, taken from us years ago.
You say it's a Punjabi ruby scene? We all know we're looking at a very valuable stone. Well, the lights went out, and now it's gone. What can an inspector do that you haven't already done, Sergeant? You searched us and the room, and the ruby isn't here. Why not let us go home while you continue your investigation?
Sorry, Miss Golden, my orders are nobody leaves this room.
What rubbish! I'm a busy woman.
That must be the inspector now. Let her in, Barnett. Hello, Barnett. Okay, everybody's still here?
Still here, Inspector. We've been squawking, but we didn't let them go.
Sorry to inconvenience you folks, but I'm Inspector Ellen Conlon. We'll have a better chance of solving this mystery if we keep you all together.
I'm Lieutenant Ricker. Glad to be here.
By the way, this is Miss Agatha Pritchett, who taught us a few things years ago when she was our 7th grade teacher. She happened to be visiting when I got the sergeant's call and wanted to tag along to see a police investigation firsthand.
You picked a good one, Miss Pritchett. This case is real. I'm here.
Call me Miss Agatha. Please, everyone does. Now, just pretend I'm not here. I'll just sort of fade away into the draperies, and you won't even notice I'm around.
Now then, let's get down to work.
Will you fill us in on the facts, O'Shea? Sure, Lieutenant. This is Marlene Martine, the owner of this business. You pass through the main shop to get to this bathroom, which connects private auctions for jewels. And I gather there was an auction going on this afternoon?
Yes, we are holding a discreet auction for a valuable ruby. I had invited 5 clients who expressed an interest in purchasing the gem.
All 5 clients are present, I presume?
Yes, Inspector. This is Monique Dubois, the actress.
I realize you have your job to do, Inspector, but could you be brief?
I'll do my best.
That gentleman is Sardu Singh. The Raja he represents is an old client of mine.
The Raja will be upset towards the police when he hears that I have been held like a common criminal. The ruby was $500,000. Singh, I say whoever stole the ruby was an uncommon criminal.
And you are?
Queenie Cabot, the curator of the City Museum. I wanted to see if I could secure the ruby for our collection.
There are still 2 more clients here, Inspector. This is Paula Golden. She is a prominent financier.
And what was your interest in the den, Miss Golden?
I am strictly a private collector. As a matter of fact, I would prefer the least amount of publicity as possible. The less people who know that I collect rare gems, the less chance I have of being robbed.
I take it you don't display or exhibit your collection, Miss Golden.
Never! I enjoy my jewels for their own sake. And our last bidder, your name is?
I am Sue Montgomery from Western Texas. I grew up on the beef cattle ranch that one day oil was discovered on it. And now we have one of the best oil producing refineries in the country. And my daddy always said, if you want something, go get it, and I am.
Okay. Miss Martine.
Let's see if we have a fact.
That's a good idea, officer. From what Miss Martinez told us, there seemed to be an auction going on here this afternoon, with 5 clients present and bidding on very valuable rubies.
Yes, we were sitting around the table with the ruby in a black cloth in the center.
And were you sitting at the head, Miss Martine?
Yes, Miss Golden and Miss Cabot were on my right.
Then Mr. Singh was seated here, at the end of the table.
That's correct.
Miss Martine, tell us about your ruby.
It wasn't actually mine, Inspector. I merely had it on consignment for another client. I was working on a commission basis.
And how much commission would you have received?
20%. That's the standard fee in jewel auctions. So if the gem had been auctioned off for $500,000, your commission would be $100,000? True. You can see why I'm so anxious for its return.
Who owns the ruby?
A wealthy European aristocrat who wishes to remain anonymous.
Is there any doubt about its authenticity?
Was it inspected carefully?
Naturally, I consider myself an expert. I examined the ruby, and I can say with certainty that it was genuine.
I may not be an expert, but I am certain that the gem on the table an hour ago was the Punjabi ruby.
I'll accept the fact that it was genuine.
And that was the prettiest red ruby I've ever seen. So I knew it was genuine.
Okay, thank you. Now let's run through what happened this afternoon. We got here at 1 o'clock, examined the ruby, placed it in the center of the table, and began the bidding. We hadn't been bidding for too long when there was a power failure and the lights went out. There are no windows, so the room was completely dark.
Sergeant O'Shea told me about the power failure on the phone.
How long were the lights out? 10 to 15 seconds, not very long.
But quite long enough. When the lights came on again, the Punjabi ruby was missing. What will I ever tell the Raja?
Hell, you did it. You came here to get the ruby one way or another.
How dare you make such an accusation? The Raja does not need to steal. He's the wealthiest man in the world. My instructions were to outrage you all. Had it not disappeared, I would have had it this instant.
Miss Golden, let's not make unfounded charges. Now, could anyone have snuck into the room while the lights were out?
Impossible! There are 2 doors, both securely locked, and as I mentioned, no windows.
Could anyone have been hidden in the room before the auction?
No, Inspector, there's no place to hide. There's a team in the closet.
Then that brings us back to the 6 people who were seated at this table when the lights went out. Now, what happened when the lights came back on?
We discovered immediately that the ruby was missing.
I insisted that the police have called at once and that no one leaves the room.
I don't see a telephone in the room.
I used my cell phone, and I didn't leave the room to make a phone call, if that's what you're suggesting, Miss Aggie.
Well, I certainly didn't mean to sound accusatory.
How long did it take Sergeant O'Shea and Officer Barnett to arrive?
Less than 5 minutes, I would say. That sounds about right, Inspector. The station house is only about 2 blocks away from here. We left as soon as we got the message.
And what did you and the sergeant do when you arrived?
O'Shea and I searched the premises thoroughly after we questioned the witnesses.
What witnesses? The lights were out. We witnessed nothing.
What you mean to say is that we didn't witness you take the ruby.
Another insult. I won't stand for it.
Would the 2 of you stop bickering?
Did you turn up anything in your search?
Nothing. I've completed a list of everything found on the suspect.
Suspects? I've never been so insulted in my whole life.
My daddy would have you tied to a
and actually you're all frustrated.
I suppose you're right. It just doesn't sound very nice.
As you can see, Inspector, there's nothing of any importance on those lists. Combs, keys, handkerchiefs, things of that sort.
So I see.
May I look at the lists, Ellen?
Well, I don't know, Miss Agatha.
Why do you want to poke your nose into our affairs? You seem to have reached a dead end, and I thought something on the list might be helpful.
It could be on the lead. Read them out. Somebody make an idea.
I'm sure we all want to find Ruby getting home.
Any objections? Okay, go ahead, Miss Agatha. Read the list aloud.
Let's see. First list is Miss Golden's. Handkerchief, cell phone, aspirin, jeweler's loop, checkbook, wallet, and change.
Nothing incriminating there.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Monique Dubois. Doctor's prescription, credit cards, money clip, lipstick, compact, address book, sunglasses, mints, keys, tissues, change, and fan.
Makes me sound like a member of Murders Anonymous, doesn't it?
I'll admit it, it does sound pretty innocuous. Carry on, Miss Agatha.
Mr. Singh. Passport, fees, cell phone. My goodness, what did we ever do before cell phones were invented? Letter, traveler's chest, wallet, vitamins, cold tablets. Miss Martine. Cell phone, compact, chewing gum, appointment book, tissues, keys, brush, comb, and calculator.
The calculator was to figure out her 20% commission, no doubt.
A normal legal commission, Mr. Singh.
Miss Priscilla Montgomery. Wallet, coins, dental floss, toothpicks, Kleenex, and leather gloves.
I always take my work clothes with me, but I wasn't wearing them right here.
Here's the last list. Miss Cabot's. Handkerchief, wallet, cell phone, credit cards, nail file, parking ticket, comb, keys, jeweler's loop.
Parking ticket, huh, Brittany? That hardly makes me a master criminal.
Are we quite finished with all this nonsense?
I read all the lists, if that's what you mean.
And they weren't much help, were they?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I found them to be most interesting.
Miss Agatha, you saw something we didn't see. Please tell us. You know, back in the 7th grade, we always said you had eyes in the back of your head. We could put anything over on you, as I recall.
To be frank, I did notice one or two little things, but they're probably unimportant.
Where do you go from here, Inspector?
Well, let's review the facts. Fact 1. The ruby must still be somewhere in this room. Fact 2. As if been found anywhere in the room, or on anyone who was in the room at the time of the disappearance.
This sure is an interesting case. Interesting to you, maybe, but it's wasting my valuable time.
You know, when I was a girl, we used to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
What do you mean by that?
It means there's more than one way of looking at a problem. If you reach at it and try another angle.
Well then, what angle do you suggest?
Let's use the ruby floss and meet everyone. Perhaps it will give us a show us by the motive for that.
We all had the motive. We all wanted the $500,000 gem. Yes, but the gem might be more important to one person than another.
Now, Miss Martine, if the gem had been sold for $500,000, your commission would be $100,000. Is that correct?
Yes, the theft cost me $100,000. How's that for a motive?
Excuse me, wasn't the ruby insured?
Of course, for its full value. The owner will collect the insurance.
I see. The owner loses nothing. You lose your commission.
That's correct.
Actually, the others have no purpose except the chance to get on a gem. Perhaps it will be enlightening to see what each person at the auction intended to do with the gem, and how much each person was prepared to pay.
That's a good angle to pursue.
Let's start with you. Miss Dubois, why did you want the stone?
Frankly, great fabulous juries per my image. They write it up constantly in the gossip column. The ruby would be worth lots of publicity to me.
I quite understand. And how much were you willing to pay?
Unfortunately, this auction caught me at a bad time and it only raised $275,000.
How high had the bidding gone in the late row?
The bidding was at $130,000, and it was far from over.
Miss Cabot, you said you wanted to purchase the ruby for the City Museum. How high were you authorized to go, may I ask?
I suppose there's no harm in telling you. My top figure was $350,000. We hope to get it for less. So if you were a success last low bidder. The gem would have been displayed in the museum? That's correct.
Miss Golden, if you had bought the ruby, it would have been hidden from the world, I presume?
That's not a crime. As a private collector, I have no philanthropic inclinations, nor do I wish to share my treasures with anyone. Gems are my hobby.
I see. And how much were you prepared to spend on their cost?
This auction caught me at an inauspicious moment, to tell you the truth. Ordinarily, I would have not permitted anyone to outbid me, but I had used most of my liquid assets to cover the margin on the stock market last week. A bid of $225,000 would have been my top offer today.
So then you, like Mr. Bois, would lost his cabin and the city museum.
It would seem so. Not quite. You seem to have forgotten that I was also bidding on the stone.
I was coming to you, Mr. Singh. What did you intend to do with the ruby?
I was to return it to my homeland and the Raja, the rightful owner. 18 years ago, it was stolen from the shrine of Jinn.
So then it would have been displayed in shrine?
Yes, along with other sacred relics. But this time, it would be kept under constant armed guard. There's your man, Inspector, a fanatic. Who wants the ruby anyway? Can we get it?
Yes, I wanted the ruby desperately, but there was no reason to steal it. My instructions were to outbid you all, and the Rajas welcomed me up to do just that.
And our last bidder, Miss Montgomery.
Miss Montgomery, what were you planning to do with the gem? Had you obtained it today?
My baby rock broken saddle has a place on the horn that will fit on just right.
And that would have made a very stunning adornment.
How much were you willing to pay for the embellishment?
Unfortunately, Daddy only allowed me to spend up to $125,000.
According to the others, top bid would have been Miss Cabot's, $350,000.
Then I would secure the gem for $360,000.
I see. I thank you all for your frank answers, but I'm afraid I haven't been too much help so far.
Oh no! One can't have too much information in a case like this. One slip of the tongue can provide the key to the mystery.
I just had an idea. Why don't we reenact the crime?
Reenact the crime! Idiotic!
Everybody could sit around the table. We could go through the bidding, turn out the lights at the proper moment, turn them on after 10-15 seconds or so, and see if we learn anything.
Sounds silly. What could we possibly learn? Perhaps with the jewels and who took it?
Well, we haven't had a chance for a reenactment like this in a while.
Let's give it a try.
What can we lose? The ruby is already gone. Everyone, please take your seats around the table like you had at the time of the auction. We'll put the black cloth in the center.
This is such a waste of our time, Inspector.
Maybe, maybe not. Miss Martine, when you're ready, you may conduct the auction. Sergeant O'Shea, why don't you control the lights? When the bids reach $130,000, turn the lights off for 10 seconds and then turn them back on.
Okay.
You may begin.
Very well. You have all examined the ruby. May we begin the bidding?
I bid 50,000. Make that 60,000. I say 70,000.
I bid $80,000.
But stop these trifling bids. I bid 100,000.
$120,000.
$130,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Miss Montgomery wanted it for public display, and she couldn't, and if she had obtained it illegally, she wouldn't be able to properly enjoy it.
So then we're right back where we started.
Well, not quite. Well, any one of you could have had the motive for stealing the ruby. Everyone except the thief lacked one important thing.
What was that?
Opportunity.
But everyone at the table had the same opportunity. They were all there when the lights went out.
But only one person knew when the lights would go out.
Who? The thief.
Do you remember, Ellen, how I stopped to chat with the doorman when we entered the building?
Yes, I wondered what you two were talking about.
Well, Sergeant O'Shea had mentioned the power failure when we talked to her on the phone. And I asked the doorman about it, and he said he wasn't aware of the power failure.
It lasted only 10 seconds. He might not have noticed.
I thought that too. So I asked the woman who was leaving the building if a blackout had inconvenienced her. And she said she wasn't aware of a power failure either.
So then what did cause the lights to go out during the auction?
I wondered that too. So I looked around carefully when I first got here. You have rather elaborate lighting here, don't you, Miss Martine?
Yes, to show off the jewels to their advantage. It's one of the tricks of the trade.
You know, I have a timing device that I attach to my clock radio at home. It allows me to go to sleep and wake up to the sound of music. I like it.
You like music, so what?
So it occurred to me that a timing device could explain why the lights went out here and nowhere else.
Miss Martine, do you happen to use timing devices here?
What if I do? Any one of us could have set the timer to make the lights go out.
I suppose that's true. But let me explain how I found the ruby. It all started when Miss Martine called me Miss Aggie.
I did?
Yes, right then I knew you must have been a former student of mine.
But the inspector said that she was a former student of yours, and she's been calling you Miss Aggie.
No, she's been calling me Miss Agatha. I asked everyone to call me Miss Agatha.
So what?
In class, students would always call me Miss Agatha. Behind my back, some would call me Miss Aggie. And you were one of them, Molly.
Molly, what are you talking about?
When you called me Miss Aggie, it all started to come back. Martine, I said, take off the E and you have Molly Martin, a freckled-faced, gum-chewing, ponytailed 7th grader.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what I was looking for when I went over your list. If you were Molly Martin, you would still chew gum. I was certain. And sure enough, chewing gum was one of the things on your list.
All right, I was in your class and I still chew gum. How does that add up to a jewel theft?
Ellen, did you chew gum in school?
Yes, I suppose I did.
Did you chew gum in my class?
Of course not. You have no mercy for gum chewers.
Then what did you do with your gum when you got to my class?
Well, we stuck it under our chairs.
I thought you remember that, and I thought Molly Martin would too. So when the sergeant turned out the lights, I reached under Molly's chair to find what I expected, a wad of chewing gum.
With the Punjabi ruby in the middle.
Right. I pulled the ruby out of the gum and placed it back on the table before the lights came on. Molly Martin was the only one who could honestly plan this whole thing.
She must have arranged for the lights to go out and planned the entire thing.
You're crazy. Why would I steal the gem? I'd lose a huge commission.
Yes, but you have the ruby. And sometime when your cash flow was a bit more stable.
And Miss Golden would give you the full gem's worth, $500,000. I would have, and Miss Martine, or whatever her name is, knows it.
All right, I hid the ruby under my chair. What's the charge?
Seems to me you were trying to steal the ruby from its rightful owner. We'll hold you for questioning and
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That doesn't make me guilty.
get in contact with the owner to see if they would like to press any charges. In any case, I don't think they'll want you handling any more auctions for them.
You're under arrest.
Holy God, deviant! You did it again.
Acting runner down. Now I must go back to the Raja and tell him I still do not have the Punjabi ruby. My jeweler had the perfect setting for this. This is the most preposterous predicament. This is a despicable debacle. This is a bitter betrayal. This is a catastrophic calamity. This is not good.
No, Ellen, I'll let you be the detective. I'm just a retired school teacher. All I did was use one of the tricks of my trade. Don't you mean Molly Martin?
I'm Caller Jackman, and I played Officer Barnett.